John, do you want to just give a briefing of what we have on record since 2009, and the complaints that have been filed and the action that was taken, and that was sort of be effective today? I think that would be helpful.
For sure. So I searched, we have two systems that we're currently using in City View to track all of our bylaw enforcement complaints that come through from residents or other departments. So there was 3 complaints logged in the system, one from 2009, one from 2010, and one from this past January, 2012. So the first one from March 19th, 2009 was in relation to clean yards. There was a stove located on the property and some other concerns of the general condition of the property itself. So according to the notes within City View, the inspector attended on numerous occasions, and the end result, the stove was removed. So that's what the notes indicated within City View. It didn't expand on the other issues related to the property. And then in 2010, there was a complaint on November 17th, and it was in relation to, again, the condition of the property under clean yards. There was a vehicle with flat tires in the driveway, and then concerns over garbage that was on the property. And then also in relation to zoning, the running of a business out of the garage. In that case, there was no further input or records put into the system by the inspector that was assigned. I believe that vehicle is still on the property, but I believe the tires have been inserted at this point.
And it has a valid
license plate. From whether it was as a result of anything that we did or just from coincidence.
So it's a different vehicle.
It's a different vehicle. That explains that. So, and then obviously on January 19th, 2012, a subsequent complaint was entered in relation to, again, the general condition of the property, zoning in relation to the business that was being operated, and property standards in relation to the deteriorated paint and wood of the garage door and general maintenance around the remainder of the property. So one of our officers was assigned to the file, and he did an inspection and investigation and issued a notice of violation for the clean yard violations. So the skids, metal cabinets, garbage, and other debris that was found on the property was ordered cleaned up. The property owner did request an extension to the compliance date, which was granted by the officer, and then the follow-up inspections were done to confirm that those items had been removed. He did make inquiries as to the business that was being operated within the garage or possibly operated within the garage, and he could find no evidence that there was a business based on the property, outside the property, and what he could ascertain from the homeowner. He did refer the complaint to the fire department for them to take a look under their act. There was subsequent concern about the wood structure that was placed in front of the garage, and again about the condition of the hole in the garage door and the deteriorating paint. As of yesterday, we had issued another letter to the homeowner requesting that the hole or garage door be repaired and painted in a similar color that is existing, or that you repaint the entire doors of the garage. So that's the basic picture.
Right. So the first complaint that was filed, there was compliance and the file was closed. Well, the first complaint was on the clean yards and stuff, the property, the stove on the property, and that complaint was closed.
Oh, stove, okay.
Yes, the stove. The second complaint, I agree, there's a gap, that it was the same officer for the first 2, and there's a gap with respect to the follow-up and compliance and the closure of that complaint. That officer is no longer employed with the town.
Was it related to incidents like this, or do I get to ask that?
That's confidential.
Okay, did you look at his emails before he left?
That is also confidential.
No, I don't want to know what's in the emails.
Oh.
I know what's in the emails.
Oh, I see.
Did you look at his emails before he left? No. He told me in writing that he could do nothing about the business unless he saw money changing hands. Even if there was a website advertising his business at one Mendy's Force, there was nothing he could do. He was not allowed to go in the house. He was not allowed interior access, and there was absolutely nothing he could do. Is that correct in your memory?
Well, I don't have any
No,
recollection.
sorry,
of
Mr. Popple.
In my memory of what he is allowed and not allowed to do, or?
No, that he communicated that to me.
I don't remember the transaction of money component, because I would have.
Okay, I copied you on the email.
Okay.
In the reconstruction of the, I reconstructed all the emails from the date I first went to the website to find out about bylaws, and it said, contact the bylaw office. So I clicked, and it prompted me to enter an email, and I did that, and then I waited several weeks, and nothing happened.
And that was in this past January?
No,
No,
it's
this is from the second complaint. So-
2010.
So, I fully recognize and apologize for the lack of follow-up on.
But Mr. Chatwell had notes with me through emails. Why is that not attached to your system there? Like his resolution to me was an email.
Yeah, the two systems are independent, so our email system and our CDU system, they don't communicate to each other. So if Mr. Chatwell or any officer doesn't either save the email in a PDF or a Word format and then attach it to the system, or print and scan it into the system, it wouldn't be there.
So what he replied to me doesn't get into your system to you.
Not unless it's specifically.
Not at that time, but it does now.
What use is that?
That's why we upgraded to a new version of the CityView product. So when this original, the November 17th, 2010, and the one prior to that, we had what's called CityView 8, an older version. We now have CityView 9, which is a new version.
With or without software, how is it that an officer makes a resolution to the homeowner and says there's nothing I can do, and then goes back and closes the deal out and doesn't say there was nothing I could do, I couldn't enter the premises, I didn't see money change hands? Why is he allowed to do that?
Well, that's it may or may not be a performance issue.
I am totally happy with it. It was a silly decision. I'm happy. I'm a straightforward, I'm a black and white programmer guy. But these lack of communications has been the issue.
I agree.
For 15, 16 months, I've been told so many things by so many different people, now I'm realizing they don't get back to you. They tell me things verbally, they tell me things on the email, and they don't update. So it's the same as any time where somebody comes out to fix something and doesn't follow up with what he did or why or whatever. It makes no sense. I call back, he's now fired. I didn't realize you don't have access to the emails.
For the record,
I call back, he's not here anymore, I don't have access to him. I just assume you've got his emails. I assume that what he responds to me is what he puts in your file.
We rely, and the inspectors or officers, part of their duty is to maintain a proper file system,
Yeah.
and we rely on it.
Okay. I won't beat it up anymore, but
If it's not being done, it's a performance issue, and we address that, and that's when complaints get escalated to myself or to Techa, because the resident isn't getting the resolution or doesn't agree with the resolution that's been put forward, and that's when we get involved and then we take action.
So since that time, we have enhanced the tracking system.
okay, let's
Tracking system.
agree.
And we've also put into place some key performance indicators in terms of our initial response, our subsequent investigation, and also some performance indicators in terms of how we would like to close files and resolve issues, either by way of gaining compliance or initiating court action or doing an investigation and determining that it was a non-issue. So we
When did those go into place?
we launched CityView 9 in about a year ago. A year ago, we launched our new software program, and those key performance indicators were also initiated a year ago.
In mid-2011.
Would it surprise you then that the only person that ever responded was Ms. Humphreys, that's ever picked up a phone and called me, or picked up an email and said, how can I help? I put my phone number in every email, hoping that, oh, maybe somebody this time, after this many repeats of just saying, how come nothing's happening, how come nothing's happening, how come nothing's happening? Putting my phone number in every email. Nobody's ever picked up the phone to say, hey, I noticed this about third or fourth time, you're asking about the same thing, maybe I can help. Does anybody even look at those emails?
We do look at the emails. My approach to communication is to respond in the method of communication in which we were originally approached. So if
But
somebody
after
sends,
3 or 4 to Mr. Popple or counselors or whatever, isn't there somewhere where something in your system can trigger, here's an outstanding complaint, the client is still asking about it, maybe we should do something beyond an email to get in touch with them, maybe the ball's been dropped here. Am I asking?
I believe we have responded through email. And I, from a customer service perspective, and I understand that your phone number was there and that you would have appreciated a call, but not all people appreciate a call when they email, and that's the honest truth.
Why would I put a phone number after my name? I mean, I've been begging for people to contact me. I've pleaded, please tell me how to get a meeting. I just want to come in and I want to talk about how to get a bylaw that will solve this problem. You're telling me time after time that the bylaws don't cover the situation, that you can have a business in a garage, that you can't go into the garage, you must see money transferred, you can stack garbage cans all in front of your door, you can build false walls in front of your garage, you can leave your paint unpainted, you can fill your garage with garbage 5, 6 feet high. I would just like to meet with somebody to find out why we shouldn't get a bylaw that covers this and get rid of the bylaws that appear to cover it. And I could not get a response.
There's a couple of issues that a whole slew of things that you've identified there, so I'm going to try and go back and respond to.
Well, rather than do a shotgun, it's just you've got this software, it's now version 2, it's the new improved. How did a case like mine, where I've been dealing with for 16 months on the identical issue, and I've given you photos that are mine, and if you don't believe mine, there's the ones out of Street View that show that for years he's had that false front. He's tried to cover his business up. I've sent you emails saying Chatwell came, he visited, he said there's nothing he can do about the business, he has to see money change hands. He tells me things that aren't in the bylaw. There's no bylaw that says to have a business, to be proved that you have a business, we have to show you moving money hand to hand. And these things go on for 16 months. And I put a phone number in every email, and the only person to get in touch with me is Ms. Humphreys. And she got in because I did this long email, putting everything together, saying, okay, for you counselors, I was told the counselors all get copied on any issue with a resident, but they're not. So here it is, and then I copy-pasted all the email addresses for all the counselors. Ms. Humphreys responded. She said, I can't believe this has gone on for this long, let me look into it. Then we had a nice long phone conversation. The first telephone contact. Everything else has been such a mismatch. I mean, the officer that was assigned, his ultimate comment to me was, well, I got the cabinet and the pallet removed. The cabinet and the pallet weren't there in 2010. They were just the most recent items in the garbage pile. And he went away thinking, oh, that's great. I solved the problem. I got rid of the pallet and he missed everything else. Everything else. Garbage cans, not a problem. You can have as many as you want in front of your house. Garden trash lying there, not a problem. A false wall in front of a garage door, not a problem. Deteriorated paint and holes in the door, not a problem. The guy's a nutcase. He's got a garage 5, 6 feet high full of garbage bags full of stuff. Is all I can see in there. He doesn't open it. The other night he had it open. I walked outside, just get the garbage in. Wow. And he's just standing there like, he's got these stacks of stuff that make the hoarder look tame. And he has his shop in there.
Well, with
Why has nobody picked the phone up and said, Bob, here's what we're doing? Why? Please don't make it anything bigger than that.
Okay.
Okay.
I really apologize for not picking up the phone and calling you.
So your system doesn't support maybe pull the plug, somebody's got to talk to the owner, or somebody's got to talk to the complainant. If not, I'm a software programmer, it's an easy fix. You put in a date that says if we don't close this, resolve to the resident satisfaction or with explanation, it should trigger somebody to phone the person. Do you ever do audits with people later and pick 100 complaints and grab 5 at random, call them up and say, we'd just like to follow up on how service was from the town? Probably not.
We don't do that.
No.
But, I mean, I agree, I've never personally phoned you, that's true. But we've responded to all of your emails that have come
No.
through.
Come on now.
Since that letter that we received,
From my first email, nobody responded. The first excuse I got was that I think it was you was on course, and you didn't pick up the emails. And then my second thought was, well, that means one guy goes away, they don't answer the emails from the city website? What kind of system is that? Weeks went by. I mean, weeks. I had to call back up, say, do you guys accept emails from the website because nobody's getting back to me?
And when
Oh,
was that in 2010?
it's all in the big email. It's all in the
Well,
big email.
it's not this most recent January, is it?
No, going back to 2010. From my first contact, let me restate it. From my first contact, the follow-up with me as a resident has been non-existent to partial. Okay? Non-existent. I go to the website, I do what I think the residents should do. I don't want to bother people coming in and start asking the mayor to get involved in something. I go to the bylaws. Okay, oh, bylaws. Want to make a comment or talk to us? Oh, fill in the form. Wait. Weeks. Finally, I get, get into the new year. Oh, maybe I'll follow up on that. Hey, town, is anything happening? From day one, there has been no communication.
I've exchanged 4 or 5
Lots of
emails a day.
there has been, of course, it's been 15, 16 months.
Okay.
But I'm saying from the first,
Okay.
it's nothing. To the most recent, which was your officer, he sent an email saying, here's what we're doing. The fire department's coming, this is coming, that's coming. So I'm getting ready for a meeting. So I figure, I haven't seen the fire department. I'll ask them, you know what this issue is. I emailed them back. Can you tell me if the fire department has come yet? I can't tell you that. It's not my responsibility.
And sir, with all respect, you misread his email. And that's
I
why
didn't.
I asked him to
Print it
send
out.
I asked him to send you that email because he honestly didn't know the answer, because we hadn't received a response back from his phone. He was simply saying, the director has contacted the fire department to obtain that information, and we'll have that on Friday, so we can relay that information to you.
Show me his email.
I can go get it.
Okay.
I simply think it was a misunderstanding of what
But
it was.
everything is being blamed as a misunderstanding. I asked him a very simple yes, no, I don't know question. And his response was, it's not my responsibility. He didn't say, Mr. Popple has asked me to inform you that he will cover that issue when you next meet. No. I can't tell you that. It's not my responsibility.
Well, and I think the email did say that the director will provide a response to you on Friday.
It added.
And I have a response if you would like to get to that part.
That's not.
And if you want to talk about
I hope in 16 months you've actually done something. I'm talking about the process here, folks. Come on now. It must be obvious now. I'll go over the street and throw the garbage cans out in the middle of the road and I'll get rid of the problem. The problem is I'm trying to do things right as a citizen. I'm trying not to get involved with my neighbor at all. He's an idiot, okay? He has shouting matches with neighbors in the street. If you think I'm irate, you ought to see him in the middle of the street arguing with a neighbor, okay? He's a nutcase. He's trailer trash. He shouldn't be in the house.
We're not, sir, excuse me, Mr.
The whole thing has been
Mr.
communication.
We're not gonna have that discussion here. I can appreciate
I'm
that.
telling you, I'm trying to do things the right
I
way, sir.
understand that, sir, but I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you impugn someone. I have no idea what this person.
Okay, I take back the words, Chair. He is an unusual neighbor that doesn't fit in.
That I can accept.
He has a reputation for shouting and screaming at people in the middle of the street. He treats his house like garbage. He leaves garbage around his house. He runs a business in his garage. He paints and applies sprays and coverings to his product in the middle of the driveway. Okay? And I've tried to be the nice citizen, and I come out, I knew it was eventually going to happen, that you guys would sit here and say, oh, we've done everything right, and you should have given us more time, or it's our system, or it's whatever. And folks, there's just no communication here. And it's not improving, because you're just trying to whitewash the whole thing.
Well, I don't think we're trying to whitewash the whole thing. We acknowledge that there's a large gap in 2010 in that complaint that was filed. And since January of this year, there's been quite a bit of action on this file and quite a bit of interaction, and I agree we didn't pick up the phone and I apologize for that. With respect to some of the outstanding issues, be happy to provide you with an update and what our intention is, what we've done so far, what the bylaws.
Proceed.
So with respect to the business that you've mentioned several times, the inspection that our officer undertook did not reveal any evidence of a business occurring at this location. The fire department, there was a referral to the fire department. The officer actually went to the fire station and made a referral to fire. They have attended the site. They did gain access to the garage, and they found no evidence of a business. They have expressed some concern with the amount of garbage and materials in the garage, and they have requested that the owner obtain a bin and discard some of that material. However, they do not have authority, and I know that they don't have authority, and they told me that they don't have authority to take further action. So they are trying to influence the owner to do the right thing, and he has agreed to do that. With respect to the facades, they've been removed, and I agree that the garage doors need paint, and we have issued a letter requesting that the owner, acting as a good neighbor, paint his garage doors, and also put his garbage containers at the side of the house. But there is not a bylaw to regulate the garbage containers being in the front of the house. We don't have that bylaw, so we're requesting that he does so. I believe, what else did this get? There were some things that have been rectified, general cleanup, and I guess the cabinets and the structures that were in front of the doors, those have been removed, and I think there was some general cleaning happening throughout the yard. At this point in time, the only notice or the only violation that could possibly be in place is the garage doors and the painting and the painting of the garage doors. I agree it's not the most beautiful property, but it meets the minimum standard.
Okay, the bylaws state you can't have garbage in your yard. It says you can't even have garbage that you think is not garbage in your yard. The bylaw does not say you can have garbage containers full of garbage in your yard, and the yard being the line between the front of the house and the street. The yard, not the side yard. I don't care what he does with the side yard, that's his neighbor's problem. Why can a resident store as much garbage as he wants in multiple colored plastic containers in his driveway without the town having a bylaw that they can call on him?
If he's failing to take the garbage to the curb for collection.
No, storage of containers full or empty of garbage, unknown content, don't care whether it's smelly or not smelly. Why can a resident have as many garbage containers as he wants down his driveway and not be asked to put them to the side or the rear of his home? Is there nowhere where a bylaw was not anticipated for that?
Simply to deal with the bins, we'd have to see what the contents were.
Why?
Yeah, I think Mr. Leck's question is there any regulation in terms of where the garbage can be outside?
No, sir, it wasn't. Sorry to interrupt, but it's from what has happened. I can go buy 60 gray garbage cans or multicolored and park them in my driveway. I can buy a garbage container with a steel lid on it, 8 feet by 8 feet by 8 feet, and put it in my driveway. I can put tents to cover cars in my driveway. I can fill my driveway with almost anything I want. Yet if I showed a picture of that to 100 residents, 90 out of 100 I'm sure would say we must have a bylaw that prohibits that. Why can a resident have as many garbage containers as he wants in front of his house that don't smell, that might be empty even? Why can he do that? Is there no bylaw that you can pull out that says, sir, we'd like you to modify the front of your house?
For an item to be required to be removed, it would have to fall within the definition of debris or refuse. And simply having a brand new Rubbermaid garbage container stored in your driveway wouldn't meet that definition.
It doesn't say that as long as it's in a container, it's okay. It just says you can't have debris or refuse in your yard. It doesn't say, it's not qualified by container type at all.
And that's why I'm saying we have to see, to make that determination, we need to see within the container to determine whether it is debris or refuse. And if it is, then we can make them get rid of it.
Okay.
The simple fact of having a garbage can doesn't constitute a violation of the bylaw.
What about 100 garbage cans?
Well, then we're into other issues.
Like what?
If he's occupying the entire driveway surface, then he's taking up required parking. Then it's a zoning bylaw infraction.
Okay, what about blocking the door?
Which door?
Exit door. We have a bylaw that says you cannot block an exit door.
Which exit door? Is it the garage door?
The garage is an exit door.
No, it's not. There's only one exit in the house, and it's the front door or your back door. You only require one.
Exit doors only apply to
The exit, the only.
the non-garage part of the building?
No, the only exit that's required, a garage door is definitely not an exit. And a house is only required, a single-family dwelling is only required to have one exit.
No, not asking about, not speaking of how many exits are minimum or maximum.
A
There's a
garage
bu-
door
there's
is
a-
not an exit, though.
There's a bylaw that says you cannot block any exit door.
Right, and that's an exit that's required.
So they, okay,
Definition.
these are words that are not in the bylaw. You're helping me with these words, thank you.
You're welcome.
So exit really means an exit from the domestically occupied part of the house, even though that's not stated in the bylaw. We're all supposed to understand that.
Well, I'm supposed to understand it.
Because if there's a fire inside the garage and there's a resident inside the garage and he tries to get out that door, he can't. The other two doors are locked, he's stuck in there, he's going to burn.
Yeah, but that's not an exit, a garage door is not an
I-
exit. It doesn't need to
Any
be-
door in the garage is not an exit.
Yeah,
So he's got a side door and two front doors, none of those are exits.
they're not- no, they're
So
not.
as long as he keeps his front door and back door clear, okay.
He only actually needs to keep one of his doors, it's only one exit per house. For
No, no,
single-family
I
dwelling-
quoted in the same email the bylaw that says you're not allowed to block in any manner an exit door.
Right, and you're only required to have one exit door from a single-family dwelling. So
In
you have to
accordance with the
maintain,
Ontario Building Code,
Right.
correct? Not the property standards bylaw.
right, so you only are required to maintain one exit. So you could put if you had a rear door and, you wanted to put, I don't know, something to block it, like a piece of furniture, you could do that and it wouldn't be in violation because you still maintained your one exit, which is required from a single-family dwelling.
And if I'm wrong, you could also, with permit, block your garage door and put a permanent wall there.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
stay in compliance with the building code.
Right,
Sure.
so it's like any.
Because you're going to finish it, paint it, keep it in good repair.
And then it's an enclosed,
It's not a wall to attempt to cover up a business in a garage.
Well, then we haven't seen any evidence of the business,
seen the pictures and.
Did you speak to his neighbor?
uh,
Beside the open door that the exhaust blows out of? All the dust and dirt that while he's working in there blows out of?
well, you might be a man with a hobby.
It's not. He's a cabinet maker. He's a cabinet maker. He makes cabinets in his work.
In his garage? I've seen pictures of the garage, I would find it hard to imagine that he could work in the garage.
You saw pictures that indicate no tools of any kind in the
There are
garage?
tools, yeah,
Okay.
there are tools.
Saws?
There's no, yeah,
Power saws?
I don't recall from. the
Drills?
movie, but it would seem very difficult to.
Dust
maneuver
extractor?
around that garage, and actually make anything. A home occupation, I just have to say, a home occupation is permitted,
A home occupation.
yes.
I have a home occupation. I sit at my desk. I'm happy with that. He can have, okay, define a home occupation. Is he going to get away with it under that? His business card says one Mendy's
we
Forest.
don't- You know what, there are
Oh.
certain types of businesses that would be permitted and wouldn't be permitted.
Making cabinets in your garage is the business. Is that allowed?
I'd have to look at it a little further.
His business card states
He was
his
a-
name, his cabinet making, one Mendy's Forest, phone number. And he built cabinets in his garage. He offered to build me cabinets. He took money from me to build cabinets about 20 years ago, 15 years ago. He's running a business in his garage. He's got the power tools. He's got a power dust extractor. He leaves the side door open when he's cutting so that the dust goes out so that he doesn't choke. His half-brained idea was to put that half wall up so he could have a window above all his tools so he could have the garage door open and the air coming in and out of that big half open. When he started to fill up,
The fire department didn't indicate any concern, and they would have a concern with dust extractors for sure.
I know I'm the only one in town who thinks it's a problem. Let me finish. When he wants to paint, because now he's filled it up with all the garbage, I don't know what the material is, I can only guess. He's picking up stuff from places where he does work and collecting it, throwing it in garbage bags, and it's stacked up 5 or 6 feet high. I don't know if it's garbage or whether it's stuff he's taken from businesses or whether it's offcuts or what it is, but he has an entire garage full of stuff that would obscure all his tools, obviously from the front. But he opens the side door, and the industrial dust extractor exhausts out his side door. And the picture in Street View shows the side door open in normal operating mode with it blowing dust out. His neighbor would be a good one to say, have you heard the noisy equipment in his garage?
Have you witnessed people coming and going and?
Yeah, of
like,
course.
and-
Big white trucks, loading cabinets on and off, painting in his driveway out there with sawhorses and 6 or 8 cabinets in a row, and spraying them all up, letting them dry, putting them in the truck, driving away, coming back with an empty truck.
And when was that,
In the past 15 years, he's running a business in his garage. I'm not making this up.
No,
He's
no,
running a
I'm
business
just-
in his garage.
I'm
I don't understand timeline.
No, I'm just
Within the last
trying
month,
to, yeah, like
last-
within the last month, or
No, it's winter time. He can't be painting in the driveway in the winter. This is over the past summer, last summer.
last summer? So, so.
And prior to that, when he wasn't too afraid, he'd leaving the garage doors up and cutting and sawing wood. And it's a business. It's a shop. It's his wood shop.
Right,
It's not a hobby.
right.
As you can tell, he doesn't put money into his house. It's not like he's got money for a hobby. He's working hard to try to raise a family. He doesn't care how his house looks. He lets the weeds grow. He lets everything go. He lets the whole house go. He lets his kids go. He lets everybody just do whatever they want. His idea of beautifying the house is to put up a couple of little fence pickets that are all crooked and falling apart, and the neighbors just shake their heads. I mean, if you want more neighbors to come join me, I'll take up a petition and we'll all come as a group. But speak to his neighbor, please, the one that's selling his house right now, asking $530,000 living next to this. Because when the new guy moves in, as I said in the email, I'm going over, hi, welcome to the neighborhood, here's a cup of sugar. By the way, your neighbor's got a business in his garage, and the bylaw officer here can't do anything about it. So I hope you checked it out real well before you bought the house. I'm guaranteed one irate citizen for you. I don't want that to happen. I'm just trying to work through this immense mechanism that, like, if I had a business in my garage, I know I would get caught, and I wouldn't even do it. But here's a guy doing it blatantly for years, and I pointed out to the town over 16 months, and nothing happened. So we're going to talk this through for a long, long time. I hear that you can't do anything. Please try to change something.
I'm
Please try to change a bylaw.
I'm trying to get somewhere. So maybe.
Well, me too. What can we
I know.
change?
So perhaps there is a business that's happening. We haven't found any evidence, but if there is.
Find a picture. Have you seen it? But there has to be a picture somewhere. She says, we haven't seen evidence of a business, but she's got no picture.
No, but let her finish, please.
Thank you. I have some pictures. I have seen some pictures and some photos of inside the garage. You know, perhaps, and I have to say that entry into dwelling units is very restricted by law. So let me just, can I finish?
I'll make it. I got a pen. I'm sorry to get agitated, but
All right, so it's very restricted, and when we attend the site, we have to advise the homeowner of our reasons for attending the site. We have to advise who we're there, or who we are, and we have to advise them that they have the right to deny entry. That is our obligation under legislation. I have seen some pictures. The owner has been cooperative with the fire department, has let them inside the garage. I don't believe Eric has been inside the garage. His correspondence and communication with the owner has been over the phone. Going forward to try and gather evidence on the business may require some statements from the neighbors or something to that effect. Like you mentioned about a petition and coming forward, and perhaps that's the information that we need in order to be successful. Because if you end up in a court of law and you have no evidence, well, the prosecutors won't take forward our case for us. They will be looking for some evidence in order to proceed. So we have to have some evidence. Witness statements are often considered evidence, right, John?
Yeah, but the witness statement itself doesn't cut it in court. It requires the person who made the statement to be there to testify. It requires whomever saw the business taking place to appear for a trial if it does.
And if we, and we would be, and we would be happy to consider that information and, you know, continue to monitor the property, with respect to the business. We need some evidence, so in order to move it forward. We were not able to do 24/7 surveillance, but we have had some, home businesses, which we have on occasion provided some surveillance over brief periods of time and, tried to gather the evidence in order to move forward. So would that be something that you'd be willing to do? Would you be willing to provide a written statement?
I would love you to take him to court. I think I've stated that more than once. You made mention of you don't have entrance. Would you provide her with the email from you where you clarified what access you have to the house, up to and including everything except the bedroom is what you have access to the house? When you suspect there's something wrong in the house, because you'll remember this exchange, I said, a friend of mine was expressing, not condolence, what's the word, sympathy with my problem, saying, well, you know, the problem is, even in the fire department, only the fire chief's allowed to enter a house. And I mentioned that in an email to you. And I said, well...
The gentleman that was for Canada, I believe, I think.
Yeah, he's a pilot.
Yeah.
And his son-in-law has become a fireman, waiting to get a job. And part of their training, or somebody said to him, only a fire chief can enter a house. And I said, well, gee, if a fireman can't even enter the house when he suspects there's something wrong, I can understand how a bylaw officer's not allowed in. And then you gave me, no, to the contrary, a bylaw officer can. And you outlined a safety officer.
A fire prevention officer.
Fire prevention officer.
Not us.
Okay, has full access to everything in the house except the bedroom. You sent me that email.
Right, a fire prevention officer, when enforcing the Ontario Fire Code and the Fire Prevention Protection Act,
Okay.
has the ability to enter into a dwelling without warrant to inspect and make sure that there's no life safety concerns and that the act is not being violated.
But not a
Great.
bylaw
Not a
officer.
bylaw enforcement.
Okay, so there are people in the town, I know I guess fire department's regional, but they have offices in town. York Central Fire Service has a person that can go in the garage and has been in the garage. Okay, that person has not taken adequate photographs to show the equipment that the guy's using because it's full 5 to 6 feet high. I'm not exaggerating. It's from wall to wall. I couldn't believe it. I stood there just of stuff. He's buried his saws and stuff. I don't know where this stuff is and what it's coming from, but what it is will be the answer to part of the problem. Why is he collecting all this stuff? It must have some value there. It's covering up stuff. Can you not consider asking the fire department to do a follow-up visit fairly quickly and do a little bit more picking up of some of this stuff, looking for the bench saws, the drill presses, the dust extractor? And then at least you'd have a picture with something that says, here's all the equipment that is used in the cabinet making business. Here's a picture from Street View with the door open and the dust blowing out. You know, I took some pictures at night. They're pretty crappy, but it shows the stuff. He's standing there like that. It must have been the day they told him he had to get rid of it. I thought he had this look of desolation, like standing around going, what am I going to do with all this stuff? What am I going to do with all this stuff? Can the fire department not go back and get a few pictures that would show it to be a business? Like, I'm happy to go to court. Listen, that's the best thing in the world. as long as you petition me to come and it doesn't look like my complaint, as long as it's the town's complaint, I have to live across from the guy. He's a nutcase. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to call him names. He's a nutcase. He's got a bad problem with attitude. His friend neighbor across on my side of the street is not friends with anymore. He damaged his tent trailer and he claimed he didn't. The two of them had almost a fist fight in the middle of the street on the white line. I don't want this guy thinking it's me. So I don't want it to look like Bob left us charging with anything. I'll come and testify with bells on.
If court, the town is the enforcement agency, bylaw services, who is laying the charge against that individual.
Perfect, I'm with you.
However, it's going to be fairly obvious to everybody in the courtroom who the complainants are.
That's fine.
It's going to be you.
No, I'm a witness. You're the complainant, I'm the witness.
Well,
I'm okay with that.
okay, but
I would just say, hey, buddy, the town, wanted me here to say what I know about your situation. Sorry, buddy.
okay.
I'm happy with that.
If that's how you see the situation, then that's fine. But
Oh, are you kidding?
In reality, people are going to put two and two together, and they're going to understand who the complainant is, because if we gather a witness statement from you, it's going to have that information in it, and that individual.
It's got to be obvious to him it's the guy across the street.
In terms of the witness statement, John, maybe you can just explain the type of information that you would require on a witness statement.
Anything you want. I don't need to hear the requirements. I will give you anything you want. I'm looking for action. I see no action. The fire department's gone in, done nothing. You guys have gone in. He's ripped the wall down. There's no question of that. It happened this week. It happened since I sent that long email. Everything has happened since the long email. The only thing that happened prior to the long email was the removal of a pallet in a cabinet. Everything that's happened since the long email that I sent out on a Friday, and Ms. Humphreys got back to me on the Monday. Okay? Everything has happened since then. Up until that point, nobody who's done anything has made one change in front of his yard. And today, the garbage cans are there. Okay? The wall is gone. I'm happy. Now I'm centering down. The only thing that left is get his business out of his garage.
Okay, so if that's
Please
what we're
ask the fire
gonna-
department to
so
go back.
If we're gonna focus on the business, that's great. Now we know what you're wanting us to, that's the major concern, is the business.
Well, I sent an email with here's what I want. Did nobody's on that. Okay. I want to know how to start a bylaw that is structured to give you the ability to stop a person from storing garbage cans in the front part of his yard. Now, in driving over here today, see all kinds of people with semis and carports and stuff that have their garbage cans there. I'm not looking for something for that. I'm looking for something that lets you ask a homeowner politely to stop putting garbage containers in front of his house. And oh, by the way, why is your garage so full they don't fit in there like the rest of the people in town? That's it. I think we need a bylaw for that.
You would like a bylaw to regulate the location?
Storage of garbage containers in the yard, as it's in the bylaw right now. I think the wording's in there, but there's nothing,
Well, it's the garbage containers themselves. There's
Well-
wording around the garbage, but not the garbage
I
containers.
read the bylaws.
So-
And it doesn't declare how the garbage is packaged, wrapped, or ribboned up. It just says you cannot store trash and material in the yard. And then I went and looked up the definition of yard. And the yard is from the front face of the house to the street. I thought, perfect. He's storing trash between the front of his house and the street. It's packaged up in a Rubbermaid can, but he's storing garbage. The bylaw is being interpreted, and I've had words with you in emails. Officers are interpreting bylaws and putting spins on them that always give the benefit of the doubt to the resident. And I guess that's how you have to do it to survive. But the fact is, I could go out and buy 60 multicolored garbage cans, stick them in my driveway, and then thumb my nose at you as you came up. First of all, I'd say, get off my property, and then I'd say, it's none of your business, and then I'd say, there's no bylaw that covers it. And I'd have this big pile of garbage cans in my street, in my driveway. I just think if you ask 10 reasonable residents, they'd all assume that you could ask people not to do that.
How many garbage cans do you have there right now?
2 to 6. Right now,
Two, okay.
I'll check when I get home, but 2, 3.
I think there's two in the front and one in the Okay, so the location of garbage is a concern.
I think we should have a bylaw that does that.
Right.
I think the bylaw concerning running a business in the home is so far outdated as to be laughable. If you have to see money changing hands, as I was told, that's not an effective bylaw.
But I would
We've
say
already
that
acknowledged that
Yeah.
that would be wonderful additional evidence to prove that there is a difference, just the exchanging of
It's
money.
not the only
He
thing.
said, unless I see money changing hands.
And
Then he said, even if I see a website that says he has a cabinet-making business in his garage at 1 Mendy's Forest, there's nothing he can do. I think in a modern age, if somebody's advertising the availability of something at a residential address, the town needs to have a bylaw that at least allows them to call and clarify. As town, hi, this is the town calling. We see your ad, we see your website, we see your business card, and it says you've got a cabinet-making business and you note the address is this. It's not a mistake. You're not making cabinets in your garage, are you? And follow up. I think something simple like that would be really nice.
Again,
I
I think
think-
you need to rely on the information you're getting today and not what you were previously told.
And really,
We would use that.
yes, we would, there's many ways to gather evidence. Going forward and laying charges, we deal with the prosecutors, we deal with the courts, we deal with the JPs all the time, and it can be challenging at times. It can take quite a long time to gather enough evidence to go forward and lay charges.
I'm happy, as soon as I hear that you're proceeding towards a legal resolution, the pressure's off, guys. Again, 16 months, nothing happening. 16 months. Bob, you have to be calm, stop getting upset, stop interrupting. We've gone in, we haven't seen a business. The fire department can get in there, that's the key. Have the fire department go in and look for the woodworking equipment. Heaven forbid they just have to stand there and take pictures, Go through the stacks of stuff.
But woodworking equipment isn't necessarily
You need evidence.
that supports the fact that he's using that equipment in his garage for a business.
You're saying you go to court and
There
you say,
has-
I have power tools in my garage.
Yeah, I have tons of power tools in my garage. That doesn't necessarily on its own provide us with enough evidence to go forward.
okay,
There needs to be some other evidence, like, create some cabinets, somebody pulls up in a big van, deep stores, you see people coming and going, you see, things like that. A website would certainly be something that we would,
well, he doesn't have one, by the way.
okay.
But I'm saying your officer told me that. Even if he has a website, there's nothing we can do.
Well, that's
was
not
incorrect.
necessarily correct, right, exactly.
Okay, is there a
So,
bylaw
and
that,
we've had other home occupations in the town to which we spent considerable time, including looking through mailboxes and all kinds of things to try to gather evidence. It takes a considerable amount of effort and time at times. So that's why a witness statement can often really assist us in gathering that information and evidence we need to go forward. If there's sufficient evidence, we have no concerns going forward in laying a charge to deal with the business. None. A home occupation is permitted. Is a woodworking cabinet making? No, not necessarily. But home occupation businesses, art studios, so if he was creating some beautiful art using wood, no, not necessarily. Cabinet making, I think, is probably not a permitted home occupation, but we need some evidence. So if you're willing to assist us in that, we'd be happy to go forward and continue the investigation.
I've said, Adam, as soon as you say you're mounting a legal action, I'm there, I'll stop bugging you. But you keep pushing everything to me to do, and each time I try to suggest something like, can you not ask the fire department to make up an excuse to go back, and instead of standing at the door, stacked with garbage, have them look through the room?
We're not
They-
going to be able to use their evidence.
It's called piggybacking.
If the courts have, there's lots of case law on this, and we're not going to be able to use their evidence. You cannot piggyback on somebody else's authority. You
So
can't
I should be
do that.
talking to the fire department, I just figured it out. You
Well,
guys
they're
can't.
not going to lay a charge with the business. It's us. It's definitely us. And
No, I'll just work with the fire department,
But
keep
they're not
asking them
they're
why
not
they've got a fire hazard across the street from me. I mean, this guy's got a garage full of stuff. I don't know whether it's combustible, not combustible. It's strange behavior, it's hoarding behavior, it's dangerous behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It indicates potential, all kinds of potential other reasons. I'm sure if I mention them, I'll be asked not to mention those things, but it doesn't make sense for a resident to gather and store materials in garbage bags in his garage unless he's trying to hide them from somebody, or he's trying to make value of them, he's trying to invest in them, he's going to try to get money back for them in the future or something. It makes no sense to fill your garage with so much garbage, yet put your real garbage cans out in front. This is a dangerous person. I'll go to the fire department and I'll keep working on them. If you get a case going against him, great. And if it all blows up that this is a madman with a strange predilection to whatever he's storing in the garage, so be it. We've had our meeting. I've been asked to do stuff. What I've been asked to do is be calm, don't interrupt, come and give evidence. I'm there 100%. Okay? But get a prosecution going. I did not know, I would not have guessed that you couldn't take a photograph produced by the fire safety people saying, now, on top of all the garbage here, notice a drill press with this or that, an industrial dust extractor. So far covered up, it's not a hobby, and so much of it is not a hobby, to the point where this guy doesn't have room for his garbage can. I would not have guessed that you couldn't use the photographs from the fire department that you put onto it. You should have told me that when you said, now the fire department's going to come, but we can't use any of their evidence. I would have then said, okay, I don't care when the fire department comes with the town, because I'll deal with them directly, which is what I'll do. I'm happy to do that.
You were unaware of what was in there, so that's why it was referred to the fire department to make that determination. They've said that they're trying to work with the residents, but they don't have a legal authority to require them to do something.
All right, then I'll go from there to the police, saying, this guy's storing something in his garage, it's suspicious, can you go knock on his door? And let's hear what privacy regulations stop the police from doing. But at some point, you know, how many times have you had guys go off their rocker and start killing people, and somebody says, I knew he's kind of a nutcase. I don't know if that's one of them, but I'm wasting your time. I'm sorry. It's obvious now that there's nothing you can do. If you don't want bylaws that stop the activities that we see externally, that's up to the town. I will lobby on the street with people on my street to put pressure on whoever to take action against the guy, because I'm not the only one on the street. Nobody else just has the time or energy to put into this. You talk to the people on the street, they don't like the noise, they don't like the dust, they don't like the way his house looks and lowers their property values, and there's a new homeowner coming in. I'll deal with him when he comes in. But I understand, I'm sorry, I apologize, I've taken way too much of your time, and Mr. Mayor, too much of your time. I'll go to the fire department and work with them until they tell me to go away.
Well,
Okay?
With respect to the business, that seems to be the major concern. The fire department isn't going to take any action with respect to the business.
I'll let them tell me that.
That's fine, that's fine, because it's a zoning bylaw issue. We'd be, like I said, we'd be happy to continue to investigate. We're looking for some assistance, but we work within the system. We're not expecting
The law, as always, protects the guy who's the bad guy, let people out of jail to kill again, and the poor guy who has to live across from the guy with the house full of garbage is asked to put up with it. Or, if we do decide to take him to court, to come and testify. I will testify. Anytime, any day, as many hours as you want. You want me to take pictures and give them to you? I will take pictures. If you want a webcam out my front door, looking at his house 24 hours a day, give me the webcam, I'll set it up, I'll monitor it, and I'll only send you the frames where there's motion and something of interest. I will do anything you want. But I'm not going to sit around again and have people tell me, I got to do everything. I got to agree to do this. I got to agree to do this. When the town is obviously powerless. We have all these bylaws. We spend all this money on bylaw protection, and the simplest problem I can think of. The guy's got a business, and he treats his house like heck. He's never painted the house in years. I've never painted the house. Everything is peeling, and there's bylaws for that, and there's property standards for that, and I can't get one iota of that done without the number of hours that I've spent having to do it. I've had officers lie to me, just put me off, delay, tell me things aren't their responsibility, tells me things that they don't tell their own boss, and then I have to look like the bad guy for snitching. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to go to the fire department when I calm down next week. I'll arrange a meeting, I'll go in and quietly talk, and they'll tell me in their terms what they can and can't do. And when I come up to a brick wall there, I'll go to the police department, and I will say, Instead of calling 911 tips or whatever it is, I'm coming in. There's a very strange guy across the street that does this, this, and this. Do you want to know anything about it? And they'll tell me whether they can or can't do anything. When I've exhausted all that, and I've exhausted all the neighbors, and I've exhausted the political process of trying to bring pressure politically, I'll give up. But the guy's not going to ruin my life. I'm not driving up my driveway every day that I live in my house that I spent a lot of money for and having this idiot living across the street. He's not going to continue doing it, okay? And folks, keep doing what you're doing, but apart from parking fees, I don't see what you do around town. I really don't. You haven't done anything for me. He's gotten rid of one pallet, one cabinet. He spent a lot of hours ending up telling me there's nothing you can do. But it's fact, it's life, it's privacy concerns, and it's laws and regulations.
Well, we're prepared to investigate the zoning complaint.
Then go. And when you're ready to lay a charge, say, Bob, you got this, this, and this. When are you available? I will say anytime you want, I'll be in court. What do you want? Do you want photographs? Do you want wiretaps? Do you want anything?
Where are we trying to go?
Send me a format of a witness statement. I'll fill it in. I'll go to all my neighbors and ask them, okay? Okay.
Send us the information on what type of information should be included in those.
That's, okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Other way. All right.